Some Shalami, our sausage man, returns to the grind and he's up against Krakody. Playing as the Mongols here on Mongolian Heights. Let's see if Salami can make Krakody mold. Because he's playing as the English. And the reason I say, let's see if he can make him mold is because this Civ, I believe it's the worst performing Civ at the highest level of play. No Civ does worse. Actually, no, sorry, Abbasids. Abbasids do worse. This is definitely a bottom 3 Civ, if I recall correctly. It might be like third worst, but it's pretty bad, like by quite the distance. In fact, if we look at the, I'm checking it now, just to make sure. Yeah, English is in third. The only 2 Civs that perform worse on this map are the berry boys. Delhi and Abbasids makes a lot of sense when you consider the lack of berries in conjunction with the layout of the map. But they perform significantly worse than the Mongols on the other side. In fact, with a similar amount of games played, the English is about 6 or 7% behind on the win rate, down at 43.9% compared to the Mongols, up at a respectable 50.3% on their home map. Intriguing that neither side decided to go with the HRE. Maybe they had a gentleman's agreement and said, let's just not do that, because right now the HRE are close to having a 60% win rate with the highest quantity of games played out of any civilization on this map. Good God, I'm glad we got rid of this in the comp scene. Although I'm pretty sure Really Unskilled is upset, though. Shout out to Really Unskilled. If you're not familiar with the guy, he's played several hundred games, and he only plays the HRE. It'll be sad to see we got rid of his baby. He's been benefiting too much. I think he's made it like top 30, if I recall correctly, off the back of that. But speaking of these two, how they've been doing is a good question to ask, because Salami took a little bit of a break, a few days off. I believe he was moving or something, but he's been on the grind still. He's in 41st on the leaderboard, a respectable place to be. Krakody himself, though, is slipping a little, down to 72nd at the time of recording time of this game. Let's see if he can start to climb. Don't want to be falling off at that top 100 just as you're starting to stabilize yourself in here. We've already seen Krakody have some fun matchups today, but this one should be really fun. I'm intrigued to see what Salami can do, because I feel like even when you pick a Civ that kind of seems, although not lacking flexibility, somewhat tunnel visioned in their approach to gameplay, like the Mongols, I feel like Salami might throw us a curveball. And one curveball I could imagine is like maybe some Silver Tree trade. Because you are up against the English. So like I think you have 2 approaches here. You try to close the game really fast, or you accept that there might be a likelihood of this going hyper late, and you set up infinite trade that can allow you to compete with the English. But for now, you're just going to go on the waterfront. Outpost going down real quick here. The scouts are moving across. Build time on this is going to be tight at this rate. If anything, you need to try and block this scout from moving in. Because I think with 2 scouts, he should be able to kill you. Yeah, that's a fail. That's a rest in pepperoni's dog. He'll pull the villager back now, but it feels way too late. Your Khan doesn't even tickle, to be honest. It's unnoticeable. Like, look at the damage not being done here. Maybe he can body block. Like, that's the only move I see Salami saving his villager wolf. And look at this. Krakody with the 5 Villi pool. Wait, he's not. Is he outpost rushing as the English? Okay, no. He's going to do it on the dog. Whew. I was in a state of nanny right there. Like, what? You're going to rush the Mongol TC... A Mongol, of all players, by the way. A Civ that we sometimes forget can pack up their TC and move it closer to block you. So I'm glad he didn't do that. This instead makes a lot more sense. We'll block out any control for poor old Salami on the riverfront here. And the cool thing is with 5 villages, like, if you want Krakody, he could switch into docks. He could also drop a mill and start gathering shoreline fish, because it's very valuable here. And I'd actually just love to see the mill. I don't think you even need to commit into the dock yourself yet. Although you might want to Krakody. You might want to... Well, he's got his fish. Okay, so he's just going to torch down the dock. So I get... Yeah, so he's going to replace this dock with his own. It's kind of beautiful and poetic, isn't it? Something dies, something emerges. Some other, like, you know... typical voodoo bull crap. And there's no way that poor old Salami can stop him here. The outpost blocks him, so that's just going to be freebie. The worst case scenario about this for Salami as well is, like, look what he done. He sacrificed the Uvu for the fast spawn on the dock. Because he wanted it a lot quicker. Because remember, one important detail for the Mongols can usually trip them up on water hybrid maps is when they go for the Uvu first, it can leave them delayed on getting their dock up first. Getting the dock up on the timing. So it pushed them back by like close to a minute. And that difference is actually pretty substantial. It allows your opponent to maybe make their way up the field quicker or go for their own dock play and insulate it with the outpost. But in this matchup, I think it's better to actually set up the Uvu. Uvu into racks, you build a few, and then you just try to block your opponent. And that would have worked really well against Krakody, who'd gone for the villages pull. He didn't even commit into racks or any sort of early aggressive unit. So you have to pull away. And oh, look. Beautiful. Just a new dock here. Pack up your dock. Just a reminder for people, you cannot pack the docks up. Yo, although... Guys, hear me out, because Mongols haven't, like, ruined the ladders for enough months. What if you could pack your docks up into boats and move them? Okay, I'm just gonna stop now. I'm just gonna stop. I'm sorry. That sounds like something we might introduce to the Vikings. Definitely not for the Mongols, all right? They get too much pack-up fun as it is. So dock now online. And the interesting part, actually, is this has also delayed Krakody's timing. Look at his resources. He didn't even move up because he gained too much gold. Now, you can fix this by sticking around with the lads on the fishing, but instead, he's going to look to actually block this out. He did scout out what his opponent was doing. Salami, I think he forgot what side of the river he's playing on here. What the hell is this? Oh my god, what am I watching? Well, this villager, I'm watching this villager die. I don't think he can do this quick enough. One villager with a short bow as well will ensure that's the case, as it looks like Krakody moved ahead with one. So pull back here. Salami's going to have to accept he's not going to be able to push out from here. And instead, he might be pushed out himself because it's Krakody's turn to plop an outpost down at the crossing. Wolf will be addressed, and I mean, this is getting very bullish for Salami. Salami's at least making his way up, though, and something we have to identify here is Krakody is really turning the screws, but he could be screwing himself. He still hasn't got the resources to tech up. It's finally going to be there, but mistakes were made for Krakody. Look at his resources, 169 gold extra that just didn't need to be there. You can't even say I need it for Wheelbarrow. He already got that. So this is just poor optimization in your early game eco. I don't know. This is a little bit uncomfortable. Like, Salami, he's going to have a frustrating start to this game, but I think now that you're arriving in Feudal, you're going to be behind by a decent margin. A margin that could see Salami get several horsemen out into the field, which are valid already, because you've got to get rid of these outposts somehow, and it just enables you to not only get the horsemen to burn down these structures, but also to counter out the possibility of what Krakody does next, because he's gone council hall. So this might be some longbow push early on. And I wouldn't be surprised, because whenever you play these water hybrid maps like Danube and Mongolian Heights, there's a lot of value in getting a few longbowmen because they can snipe down these fishing boats out of range of the outposts. Although that might change soon with the arrow slits. I wonder if that was on Salami's mind when he done this. So when he built the outpost on his opponent's side of the river, this is possibly intentional to block longbows. It's actually very smart if that's the case, because usually what the issue is if you have fishing boats and you defend with outposts on your side, the range isn't good enough for them to reach longbows that have 7 tower range on the other side of the river. But your fishing boats are going to be close enough to them to reach without the towers being able to. So really important detail. And I think this was intentional in that regard from Salami. And now, nice push away. Nice use of the transpo ship as well. That's pretty crafty. We'll look to block out the villager and force him back. His own villager needs the garrison. We'll make it on in time. And looks like we are getting into our first light junk. Light junk is going to have limited value here simply because you're boxed in. You can't send a light junk after the outpost. It will take bonus damage. You can see it here. It's actually a ludicrous amount of bonus damage. And Salami, by the way, is just making his way up fast. He's actually getting there quick. I got to give my sausage boy credit here, actually. A Hungarian bro done well. Like, he had a lot of fishing invested already when he got denied out. But he didn't lose them. He just moved them south. And it means they've actually just been, like, idle eco waiting to be resurrected or revitalized in this situation because they were never dead. And it means the only thing that's missing is his gold. Once that's sorted, this is going to be a quick castle. And Krakody, we already highlighted the issue of how he sacrificed his own feudal timing with his miscalibration of resources. And although it's not a complete miscalibration this time around, like, it is a ripple effect of the fact you didn't tech up faster. And this longbow push is going to be delayed. And because it's so delayed, even if you now snipe out the fishing boat, Salami doesn't have to care. He already got the value out of it. And he already has sheep in reserve, so he's not running out anytime soon. But he will be running up towards Castle Age. Krakity is going to feel like he's a mile behind in comparison. I mean, it's grim to think about what's going to happen to Krakity in the next minute or two, because in this specific matchup, when the Mongols reach Castle Age, they beat the living crap out of you on these waterfronts. It's the war junks to consider. And while the outpost will somewhat help, unless he's got units nearby the garrison, he won't put out enough damage to kill the war junks before, like, 2 war junks could kill each of your outposts. There's Lombos we were talking about before reaching in. The problem is it's only 4. You can see how inconsequential it is. If you go up to like 7 or 8, you can actually very quickly kill fishing boats. It's not the case though. Instead, he's going to march towards the base. He maybe suspects what's coming, but there's not much he can do to stop it. Defensive outpost also going up. Salami isn't going to be defenseless on land. And now Krakity, he has to race up behind. He's getting close to what he needs for the King's Palace. And I'm expecting a King's Palace. There's no way you go White Tower here. You can't really sacrifice your timing. You haven't got enough villagers on the front line to make an aggressive drop. He shouldn't need it defensively. Instead, you should need Castle ASAP with an Eco Boom. Outpost going up. Salami looks to defend himself. Would benefit from a few troops coming out. It's going to be the double AMAA. You can see how easily they can reach on those Lombos when they misplace. It's Krakity still trying to catch up to the eco efficiency he has over the size of Salami's eco. Although Salami is going to run into a problem very soon. Look at these numbers. There's not much in the way of resources left here, so he will have to move out. And that means he needs these defenses gone or he can't do anything. With this man-at-arms starting to stack up, he might get his opportunity soon. Especially considering Krakity never actually got the extra torch resistance via the Fortify. So, could lose these defenses fast. Even more so with the transpose ship, so he doesn't even have to go for the Palisades first. So instead, those man-at-arms are first going to make their way up to the north side, where it looks like there's a double dock play here out of Krakity. To exploit that. Arrow Slit's upgrade, an interesting choice for Krakity. He could cancel that and go for the Spring Rod placement, and it would be better. Instead, let the torch damage begin. This should be where we start seeing a hard push of man-at-arms to the front line. Already a little raid in, getting some vision out. It looks like he wants to see what Krakity is up to, and all we'll see is a naked Eco Boom. No military infrastructure to speak of outside of that council hall. Instead, it looks like Krakity's plan is to try and block the crossings and go for a keep drop on one of them, to use as a frontal staging point. In fact, I wonder, could he be going for an aggressive keep drop? Krakity, he's the type of player I would expect this out of. It's very risky, but it's very high reward if it works. What to see, he's definitely got enough stone to do it. Aggressive outpost coming out in the meantime. Salami start to crawl his way around. He'll have a quick rush point, and there it is. It's not quite Royal Britannia, but whatever the Mongol equivalent is here, because he's got the war junks. He's moving upriver, and the counter Hulk is not going to be good enough, especially when you move it out of range of the network of castles. Folks, this is going to be a very one-sided assault, especially with the light junk in there as well, tanking shots. Krakity's only advantage is that he moves faster, of course, but you can only move so far back. You can see the damage starting to come out. Light junk even sticking in range, and even with the assistance of the outpost is heavily damaged. Salami could easily finish this one off. Double Hulk, though, is going to force him to think twice. Doesn't have to think too long, though. Back up for the moment. Dock in the center will be a reinforcement point as well as a healing point as he looks to continue to move in. All the while, the outpost crawl continues because Krakity, he has limited wood here. The build up. Krakity, he wasn't even coming in for this. He was going for the aggressive keep drop. Now he'll have to react. Villager pull, nice snipe just in time. We'll block out any peppering arrows coming his way. That would have stung as well because he doesn't have textiles. And it looks like he's moving the aggressive keep drop right on top of the docks here. But Salami doesn't care. This move is incorrect for Krakity. It doesn't matter anymore. Look at the state of affairs here. There's no fishing. And unless you're going for Sacred Site victory, it does nothing. And even if you are going for Sacred Site victory, what about the northern one? The northern one that is on Salami's side of the map. It feels like Krakity is just a move behind here. And it's going to hurt him. Hulks. Him back and forth, and mistakes made by Salami there. He didn't do the same, so it's going to be a bad trade. And remember, like, one issue that Salami has to consider here, maybe it's why he isn't cycling, is you have to get slightly closer to the Hulks. Boom Ship is going to be a fat whiff. And it looks like the War Junks are going to back up, but at least Crackety done this. This wasted investment. This keep does nothing. Instead, Salami can just continue to move forward in the center towards your holdings here. And it does feel like you have to make quite the investment to defend this. Like, you need probably 2 more Hulks. Like, good War Junks pivoting and circling can actually just wipe you out. 120 damage per shot compared to the 100. Wants to make sure he stays ahead, but you can see heavy damage on one of those warships. Salami now insulating himself. He is going to be going second TC as well as the prayer tent. An interesting switch up here, actually. So he's going to forfeit the water most likely by doing this. Oh, I say that, the boom ship! Ooh. Final ballista shot's going to come out. Looks like one of the Hulks is going to go down, and Salami keeps both of the War Junks alive. So he isn't going to forfeit the waterfront. He might force Crackety to invest more into Hulks. And the problem with this is Crackety has yet to go into religion himself. He's not picking up his relics. And with a double TC situation on top of the relics as well, this should put Salami ahead. Crawling of outposts as Crackety is trying to deny some equity here. The problem with this play is you have to remember that the arrow slits don't get, any arrow shots, any damage out of an outpost really doesn't do bonus damage against fishing boats. They're not classed correctly, so they don't actually take additional damage. They get classified as a worker before a ship. Or I guess it would be ship and then worker. I believe this is meant to be a bug they've already stated, but the way I imagine it works is that it categorizes you first as a ship and then as a worker, and workers don't have anything that does bonus damage against them, so it just reads that file instead. That's why even with the Springwood upgrades, you're not going to two-hit these fishing boats. And it'll give time for Salami to pull away. Ooh, that's a cheeky move. Salami, he can get rid of that outpost. That's a waste. More outposts going up. Crackety just really stuck in a reactionary state now. And the man-at-arms are building. The Springwoods are here as well. And this is where this turns into a bad fight, folks. 3 War Junks and a Springwood. Each of them dealing 120 damage. And the man-at-arms are just going to pull straight towards that outpost. The pushing continues. Salami looking to get rid of Crackety's expansion on the waterfront and looking to block him in on his side of the map. And it really is feeling like he's going that way. So he pushes in. Hulk's taking heavy damage. One about to fall. 3 War Junks still standing, and he'll be lucky if he gets one target here. He's cycling, which means he can't choose what this Hulk is targeting, and it's not even going after the low HP War Junk. Instead, it's just going to fall. And that means your fishing economy is going to fall. And with it, your income per minute in the food department, because Crackety, folks, there's a problem right now. Look on land for Crackety. He never switched into farms. He was wholly reliant on the fish. And this is going to be a big gap for him. This is an opportunity for Salami to move forward now. Blocking out the fishing eco, he might not realize just how much damage he's done yet, because he hasn't scouted this out. I can't believe I'm about to say these words. We are 18 minutes into a game with the English, and they only have 1 farm. 1. Oh my good God. Now, in fairness to him, folks, that is 100%, actually 1,000% more farms than the Mongols. I'm going to stop now. It's a grim situation, because now Crackety has to make that transition. He's already now 1 step behind. He's going to put himself further behind, and look what he's trying to do. He's a greedy son of a gun. He's hoarding a lot of gold. I think he was considering going for Imperial. And I don't know why you'd be thinking about going Imperial without your farm set up, but that's how it looks here. Oi, oi, oi. Outpost defense is going up. Salami might consider just targeting. I was going to say targeting Imperial, but he's going 3 TCs first. He's going to pop cap. And he's going to pop cap miles ahead of Crackety, because Crackety, like, not only is he only 2 TCs, but he has to set up all the farms as well. Oh my. This would be the situation where Crackety could benefit from going for a 3rd TC himself, but he doesn't have the read. He doesn't know this. One of the big oppressive issues in Mongolian Heights is a lot of the time, if you get a stalemate around the riverfront on both sides, you're playing blind Age of Empires. You're just building your build. You don't really have anything to react to until you see it. And the concerns is that when you're up against eco booms like this, like going multi-TC, you have no way of knowing it. And you can see that by Crackady's vision. In fact, Crackady has never looked that deep into the base to find that in the first place. Now the relics being picked up as well. Relics that still have not been targeted by Crackady. And I'm kind of at a loss right now. Crackady, it feels like he's slowly heading towards the loss. Like, this is a miscalibration of resources. You're not getting your infinite gold trickle. You're still using 16 people in the meantime to gather a resource you have no use for. Maybe he's thinking about going man-at-arms hard. Maybe he's thinking about knights. Maybe he's thinking about siege. Siege would make sense to this. But for that to be the case, he needs to sort his wood fast. I just love how this war junk is just in a kind of a state of like short arms, trying to reach for something. You just can't quite get to it. Oh, Crackady. What moves do you really have left? Well, his best move now is to go Imperial, but he's going Imperial from a point of weakness. He doesn't know what Salami's doing. We can see that Salami's just eco-booming, right? So you could get away with Imperial. But the issue for Crackady is if he's like thinking about this at a high level, for all he knows, with limited control over the Straits, Salami, like what he could be doing right now is he could just be building a mass army on land to rush you, building up to pop cap. We can see that's not the case, but he has no clue due to the vision situation. Love how this graphical error still is in the game, by the way. I like how in the early days I was freaked out by it, but now I'm just kind of numb to it. Arms Battalion is a sizable amount. Looks like we are going... Wait a second. Salami's going Magadai. Yeah, he's prepping Magadai Horseman. He's going to rush through. Oh. I wonder if Crackady is... Please tell me he's not considering man-at-arms. Well, he's considering tech up. He's underway with the Imperial now. The timing could be pretty bad, though, because Salami is already prepping the infrastructure to push hard into cavalry. Cavalry that won't take long to breach these walls. Looks like finally Salami's food eco on the water is coming to an end, as is the whole fleet, but he's prepped for the switchover. In fact, Salami is now making his way towards Imperial as well, and Crackady is not doing this fast, by the way. Crackady doesn't have as many villages he can sacrifice to the build speed of that. And folks, because of how big Salami's eco is, because he also got the gold trickle that now Crackady is only going for, his Imperial timing is going to be competitive with the English. On top of that, he already has a standing fighting force, something that Crackady doesn't have. He has two. He's prepping stables as well. Oh god, no. So, the reason this is bad is that Crackady is about to fight up against Magadai. Heavy cavalry can't gap close Magadai. They just die to them. So as long as Salami doesn't micro like his fingers are made of Salami, he should have this. This is uncomfortable now for Crackady. He just doesn't know it yet. The White Stupor build up. Plenty of food to support him. Salami never likely to run out in that department. Gold, plenty to last him long term. Here we go, tech up complete. This should be an instant move into the Magadai army. And alongside it, he's even prepping himself for the Monastic Shrine, so he's going to be able to get double production out the coming minutes onto the Horseman. This is just a complete bodying right now. Not heavily leveraging the gold, instead relying on food and wood, and having the gold instead of for knights, having them for the Magadai. And even another prayer attempt because he's getting that upgrade. He wants to make sure he's got double production left, right, and center here. And that tech up timing took Crackady by surprise. You can tell he's building up the defenses. He's expecting some sort of rush. He hasn't seen Salami for so long. He's scared. He should be. Because Salami is quickly approaching PopCap with a military district this big. Stabilizing his resources, waiting for the research upgrades to come out. Even going into the Stone Bounty as well as the additional torches means he'll be able to rush through buildings off the back of the Horseman. Why is Salami slowed down? I think he must have, like, mistook the state of his eco. He's now pushing into the Horseman. And folks, these elite knights, like, they seem beefy, they seem scary, but realistically they're not. Because the thing that you can do if you are Salami is you can ignore them with a Horseman, and then the knights have to chase after you. Oh, you torch everything down. And while they're doing that, while they're chasing, the Magadai will be pursuing behind at an equal pace, peppering you full of arrows. Already looking to do 13 damage, and soon even higher. Let's see his upgrades continuing through. Interesting. Whoa. So Salami, he's going for trade at a late point here. And he's also getting into the stone commerce. So he'll be able to get a bunch of stuff. Yo. This is like a 32-minute timing attack by Salami. The logic is that he's going to actually like build up his eco to last forever. And because he's going into trade with stone as well, the way he's building these prayer tents around his military infrastructure is exploitable. He can use it for double production. He can replace his army much quicker on a same level production scale as Krakody. That's scary. And Krakody, like you can see he's trying to approach Popcat, but it's so slow due to the fact that each of these stables are locked in at 35 seconds to push out one unit. Meanwhile, Salami, with the layout of his base, he starts to get double production every 19 seconds, every 14 seconds. His goal here isn't to have a quality army, it's to just overwhelm Krakody with sheer numbers. Looks like First Strike Force might be ready to go soon. Just waiting for the final upgrades to come through. Incendiary Arrows about a minute out. He should be pop capped by about 28 minutes. And then from there, that's also going to get Incendiary Arrows. This is lining up perfectly. And Krakody right now, if he's only knights, he doesn't have a solution. And folks, like, make no mistake, he is only knights. Ignore these small man arms, these lombos, all these things that haven't been upgraded. That's just a byproduct of the Wingard Palace. The only things he's using are knights and trebs. And he's in for a rude awakening when he approaches Salami's big boy base. Also, biology being prepped. So ideally now for Salami, he kicks the timer to 30 minutes. That's when we have to weigh up whether it's advantageous to Krakody. Now, Krakody did go for the biology. He is ready to pursue. And he is also going to the military academy. That's going to be heavily delayed. And Drebs now starting to crawl in. Might force a reaction out of Salami prematurely. Could be the best case scenario for Krakody. But still, it's a case if you can't reach the Magadai. Here we go. Knights riding in. Krakody, he's getting impatient. He understands he got his timing. He doesn't want to wait around to see if Salami's got one he's waiting on. Garrison in the TCs. Several villages going to be going down. The flood through coming into the Horsemen. It's Krakody. He splits up the Knights and the choke points. This could be detrimental here. Horsemen pursuing him. Looking on to trade, but needs to take the main fight right now. And the reinforcements arriving fast. Magadai now in range. And look at the pepper down, the speed at which they do it. This is the problem. Krakody, he's outmassed here. The difference maker is the TC fire plus the Magadai. You're limited with the amount of melee that can attack in these choke points, and it means it's a bad trade. Krakody quickly losing the army is going to be forced to fall back, but in the fallback, he's going to lose the vast majority of knights. See now the Magadai just chasing on. It's not the quickest of kills, but it's consistent. And with the Yam, he's always able to stay in range. The pursuit forward, the Horsemen in on the trebuchets. One going down, second one targeted out. Insta-wipe there. No siege, just slow blitz his way through the space. Last of the Knights down. The Horseman Zerg is starting to body him here. 30 remains of the 20 Knights, but the Magadai fully unleashed now, dishing out 18 damage per shot. 18 damage, of which only 6 is being removed. And even with the attack speed buffer, Krakody cannot take this fight. The Warjug's now stabbing into his side. The Knight Battalion is going to be wiped, and the Scalp Pull is not going to save you. Krakody's army shrinking too fast. It's only Magadai remaining, but now this is where you just micro. Now it's down to the Magadai. You take the remaining trades well, because now Krakody can't attack you. And you see the effect here. The amount of Knights going down. Like, Krakody cannot keep up with the demand. He just got Magadai out of this game. And he needs to transition to recover fast, because now the Magadai, they're reaching in. The crazy part is Krakody has to react to this, but you don't want to. You actually can't react to this because the Magadai move at the same speed. And while you chase these Magadai to the back of your base, guess what's rebuilding at the front? More horses come into play. Salami fulfilling his My Little Pony fantasy here. And Crackety is just along for the ride. He has no say in where this train is going. He has no say in where this horse is taking him. And he's losing villagers on the way. Striking his eco. Now Crackety, 23 villagers behind Salami. And look how that's going to affect him. He's got a heavy demand to keep up with the push of knights. And every time he loses a giant chunk of farmland, he's going to struggle to do that. Hand Cannoneers, the switch up seems desperate now. Understandable up against the Magadai, but the problem is that your Hand Cannoneers can't choose where to fight. Folks, look at the layout of the land here. Crackety made a critical mistake. He never walled himself in, and he's trying to now, but it might be a little bit too late. As the Magadai start to reach in, they're just out of range. I don't think he gets all the walls up. I think he's blocked on one of these. And Crackety, like, Longbow could be the answer, but the switch over time is going to be long. He needs to get the double upgrade and then start pushing them. And even then, once again, like Longbows, the issue they have here is your base is so wide and you haven't condensed. You haven't created choke points, and you can't even complete the wall in. The Magadai flood through, they break the walls, they block it out, and now Crackety is in dire straits. This was the all-in play to try and buy him time, and he fails with it. And now Salami is in. Look at the size of the eco lead. 57 to 113. Double the military in the field. Blocks out the marketplace in case he's thinking about trading. And everything's shut down. All the little expansions found. This completely grinds you to a halt. Crackety, he has barely any food coming in and thus barely any gold. And by God damn it, I think Salami might have done it. Crackety's going to try to hold on, but he's going to be fighting on multiple fronts to put out fires left, right, and center in his base. Horseman Clash right now, at least a good initial exchange for Crackety, courtesy of the Hand Cannoneers. But now that Salami sees this, he can back away and look for fights elsewhere. Once again, the Magadai move in to strike. And deep into the eco lines. It's going to be a pullback by Crackety. Several more villagers going down because we are sitting 31 minutes into a game where he's been dove multiple times now. And the lad still does not have textiles. Dives deeper, past any defenses. Doesn't care if he loses the Magadai because this drive-by damage is so damn high. 4 shots and a villager dies. That's all it takes. And now look at it. Crackety below 50 villagers. The Magadai play, pristine. He exploits to the fullest the fact that Crackety never got textiles and thus was never able to survive. Oh my God, the way he's dismounted him here. And it's Crackety's own fault. These walls, these reactionary walls came way too late. And he still hasn't even done the north side. And Slippery Sausage Man strikes again, folks, because now, off the back of that, look at his eco. Look what he padded. Look what he covered. The trade is online. It's in full swing. Reserves are built to ridiculous degrees. Wood is a limiting factor, but that is it. And this means now, if you are Salami, you can go into Lances and still go into Magadai. And you can brutalize Crackety's composition because he went Hand Cannoneers. With no clear front line. Like, the knight count has slowed down. He can't afford both anymore. More Horsemen coming out. Horseman a solid choice as well. With the biology, he should be able to gap close and do that bonus damage up against the Hand Cannoneers. Should be wrapping in. Magadai just breaching a different side, dodging the Hand Cannoneers. Crackety, no. So Salami doesn't need to take this fight anymore. Your Hand Cannoneers are out of position, so you can just wrap around. And look what he finds. No, Crackety. Once again, weakness is exposed. Where are the choke points? Where's the control point? One of the big advantages of civs like the English is the way that they can wall up and block these type of assaults. But yet, once again, Salami goes into the breach, floods through, and takes fights on his terms. And his Hand Cannoneers now fully out of position. They can't even turn around. Like, this is the problem. Stutter stepping doesn't work good against Magadai because once they're in range, they pepper you down. And still no front line. And the reason he has no front line, before he was like, okay, he needs a meat shield, he needs a defense unit, it's because he can't afford Hand Cannoneers and Knights anymore. Crackety's hit on his eco is too hard. If he pushes Knights, he can't afford Hand Cannoneers, and vice versa. And the crazy part is if you don't have both together, Magadai alone counter both. And that's why this looks so damn effective. Crackety now in single digits on the military front. I'm sure he's no doubt frustrated by the way this has gone down, but like realistically, he doesn't have anyone but himself to blame. He didn't contest the points of crossing. He didn't wall them up. He didn't block them in. And this is the result of that. The push forward, everything moving in, even the Gur coming for the party. As a second wave of Mongol bloodthirsters right into the base. Crackety has no point of recovery anymore. It's overflowing. A 25 eco. I'm surprised he hasn't just waved the white flag. But folks, this game is over. It's been over for 2 minutes. It's been over for longer when you think about the way that Crackety responded defensively. There's no way back in. He will call GG. Salami